Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Intelligent BPM Architecture. I'm your host, Eli Stutz, and I'm the Head of Knowledge and Collaboration for PNMsoft. And with me today is our special guest, our panelist, Tony Jetke, who is an enterprise architecture consultant, and today he is an account manager for PNMsoft. Hi there, Tony.
Yeah, hi Eli. Hello everyone.
Okay, so today's format for the webinar, first we're going to be discussing the architecture problem, the problem of having an architecture that doesn't consider business process management. Then we'll be looking at the solution to that problem with an intelligent BPM system. We'll be showing you a couple short demos of Sequence Kinetics, PNMsoft's intelligent BPM suite. We'll be going over a case study where Sequence Kinetics was implemented and provided intelligent BPM architecture to an existing architecture. And we'll be doing some questions and answers both with our panelist Tony Jetke throughout the webinar and with you, the audience. And I invite you now already to enter your questions into the GoToWebinar questions widget, and we'll try to field your questions towards the end of the webinar. So you can already now please enter those questions. So to start off the webinar, Gartner came out with a recent study entitled Liberate Your Business Processes from Your ERP with BPM for Agility. And one of the fascinating findings of this study is that only 20% of business processes, according to Gartner, should be governed within the ERP. Now traditionally, the ERP is optimal for governing core operational processes, highly repeatable task sequences, and those are processes which can stay in the ERP according to Gartner. But human interactions and decision making and processes that have to do with informed decisions, approval cycles, anything human-centric should be governed outside the ERP, created and managed outside the ERP according to Gartner. And where should such processes be managed? Well, according to Gartner, according to this paper, within a BPM suite. BPM suites, according to this study, are the connective tissue to liberate such processes from the ERP and enable process agility at the pace of business. And these words are simple, but they carry with them a lot of weight. And we're going to be dealing in this webinar with the idea of agility and with the idea of having a solution, adding a solution to your architecture which enables your business to be agile, to keep up with market changes, to keep up with rapidly changing process needs. So that's just to kick off this webinar and to really show you how the idea of BPM as part of an overall process strategy and architecture is at the forefront right now of business minds. So I'd like to introduce to you our special guest today, Tony Jetke. Today he's an account manager for us at PNMsoft, and he has a wealth of experience, over 20 years of almost 20 years of experience in the area of architecture, specifically enterprise architecture consulting, and he's worked with industry leaders in this field, as you can see, and he brings that experience to his current role at PNMsoft. And as our genuine expert in enterprise architecture, we're going to be asking him some pretty important questions about how to optimize your architecture with intelligent BPM. So Tony, the first question for you today is, what are the problems? What are the problems for an organization that doesn't have a BPM system?
Okay, thanks again, Eli. I really see it as being more of there are problems, of course, in terms of information and process gaps. There's obviously issues around quality, governance, audit, and overall efficiency, but I also see it as pretty much a missed opportunity. Business process management, rather than modeling, BPM in terms of modeling, provides an opportunity really to automate and better manage your processes. It's a platform to really make the processes more efficient, more joined up. So if we look at the slide in front of you now, if this could be an organisation that's delivering products and services. And if we took a process, for example, a customer onboarding for a new starter, within the CRM there will be information relating to the customer. In the ERP we may have stock, warehousing, and we may have finance and other systems, databases that are really looking after things like payment, credit limits, the account itself. And typically what you'll find is these are disconnected systems. Although they can have some form of integration at the system level, there is hands-off in between. There's process gaps, there's risk of duplication of effort, of error and rework. Lots of manual tasks. So for the users, they could be logging into different screens. It's very disconnected. So from a BPM point of view, it provides the glue, the orchestration. It allows you to sort of join up the applications, the information, the people, the roles together as a sort of an end-to-end journey, total visibility across the silos. So that's how I see sort of BPM being, as an opportunity to the organisation.
Okay, so you've given a great description, Tony, of the problem, and I'd like to ask you in the next question if you can speak a little closer to the mic, as your voice is a little bit soft. So we've talked about the problem now. So how can BPM turn a traditional architecture into what we call an intelligent architecture and solve these problems?
Okay, Ali. So BPM really is complementary to architecture. It's the delivery platform. It's taking all the good planning work that we do, all the sort of strategic planning, into execution. What it does is it actually delivers the business outcomes. So I'm talking about architecture in a wider, more sort of traditional sense. So it's not just about the IT architecture, but it's about the enterprise components, the different models, the artifacts that really describe all the different relationships. You've got up on the screen an example of a sort of traditional enterprise architecture where it's been pulled together within a framework. Many of the audience may recognize this. I mean, John Zachman, he's pretty renowned for his work within sort of framework advancements. But really what it is, it's a blueprint of the organization. So it's describing the relationships, the dependencies. As I say, it's used for decision support, for impact and gap analysis. It's a really good way to understand the organization. But the only trouble is with the framework and with enterprise architecture, it really does, it stops short of delivering the business goals, the actual services that, the business outcomes that you're striving to deliver. So on the next slide, you'll see down the bottom where Zachman or the framework stops. And of course, there's many other frameworks out there. There's process-driven frameworks such as TOGAF. You'll find within the military, there's things like MODAF, NAF for NATO. There's many around. But where I see sort of BPM fitting, and I think the analysts agree on this, is really as a complementary factor to what we call the functioning enterprise. So what we're doing is we're extending, BPM is extending beyond the blueprint, beyond the planning, to really deliver, and there was a term around in the industry a while back about actionable architecture, being able to really deliver the business objectives and the goals.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to obviously talk a little more about the specifics of an intelligent BPM complement to your architecture as we continue with this webinar. I'd like to introduce to you PNMsoft's Intelligent BPM Suite, which is Sequence Kinetics, and Sequence Kinetics is the connection between your people, your systems, and your devices within your organization. You can see here in this diagram how it connects with the ERP system, it connects with your CRM system and with various databases. It also connects with various devices. It enables your users to create and manage processes both on PCs and mobile devices. Within the Sequence Kinetics solution, we have two major modules. We have the design module, which we'll see in a second, which enables your developers and your power users to create business processes. And we have an end user, what we call the flow time interface, which most popularly runs on SharePoint. It's based on SharePoint. And there, the organization's many end users have direct access to run and monitor business processes. Now, Sequence very quickly can integrate with your existing architecture and with existing systems, because one of the main reasons is that it's based on SOA, that's service-oriented architecture. So using a services layer, you can very rapidly integrate Sequence with ERP, with CRM. Many of the industry-leading ERP and CRM platforms, some of them we actually have out-of-the-box integration and connector activities. And for others, you can very quickly connect Sequence Kinetics with standard web services, and that's all with service-oriented architecture. Now, Tony, from your experience, is SOA the optimal way for businesses to integrate BPM into their architecture?
Ellie, it could be. I say this. I attended the Gartner EA conference just a couple of weeks ago, and I was doing some research, talking to chief architects, enterprise architects, and in fact I also had some time with one of the Gartner analysts. What came out of that research was that it was definitely any organisation that was thinking of doing BPM or were currently doing BPM also see as SOA as being one of the mechanisms to enable it. So it's definitely an important part of being able to allow your organisation to take advantage of it.
Okay. Now, we talked about intelligent BPM, and that's obviously a whole topic, but there have been traditional BPM suites, and Sequence Kinetics has been classified by Gartner as one of 13 intelligent BPM suites, and that's a higher level of capability than any other BPM suite. And so we're already kind of separated from most of the market in that way. An intelligent BPM suite will include features such as mobile, social, intelligent analytics, adaptive analytics, and those are some of the things which characterize Sequence Kinetics. And that will obviously give you additional capabilities for rapid change. Now, what even more sets Sequence Kinetics apart from other products, even intelligent BPM products, is that it's based on hot change technology. Now, hot change is a unique technology which permeates every level of Sequence Kinetics, every level of the product. And the idea behind hot change, which is, you could call it a technology and also a concept, is to enable rapid change of business processes with superior control. So you can see in this diagram how for every Sequence Kinetics, for every change feature which hot change provides, there's a control layer in the center which enables process architects, administrators, and developers to control changes, whether it's by administrative tables, organizational charts, permissions, logs. These are the tools which hot change provides. Let's say you've got a form in a business process which is appropriate for PC. Hot change technology enables you to create such a form that's appropriate for mobile devices, not by completely recoding, but by using a very simple wizard, and within a few clicks you can have a mobile-ready form. So those are just two examples of hot change technology, which and that ties into what we talked about earlier regarding the agility that a BPM, an intelligent BPM suite provides. And with hot change, we provide even greater agility. So let's take a look at how Sequence overlays the ERP, how it connects with that system. So here we're just taking a quick look, kind of a high-level look at an ERP system that has a core service process. And by designing a process in Sequence Kinetics, what we do is we leverage the data from that ERP into the BPM process, and we might even, as part of the BPM process, we might even kick off that internal core service process, wait for it to finish, and then get the data back from it. And the benefit here is that the process is being managed by more users in the company than an ERP is very complex. Only a certain subset of users are qualified to manage ERP processes, whereas the BPM process is much more available. It's often on the company's SharePoint portal, and it enables most, or if not all, of the organization to have access to that ERP data in a very accessible process. So this is just a very high-level way, a way where we can illustrate how Sequence Kinetics integrates with an ERP system. One moment. So Tony, I wonder if you can give us a little more of a specific example here.
Yeah, I would like to use the sort of analogy around the customer onboarding. Of course, this could apply to a new starter, new project initiation. There's many similar processes. We at P&M Soft have got quite a few case studies of how we've managed to reduce this process from weeks to actually days. And what we're doing is rather than a lot of these being manual steps, so if you go through and sort of populate the diagram, Ellie, you can see there's a number of different things that need to happen when you bring somebody on board. There's systems that need to be updated, there's checks that need to be taken out. And what we do is we automate this. So what we provide is an audit trail, there's parallel activity, there's all the checks and balances taking place to make sure that things have happened. You've done appropriate checks, payment terms. One organisation I was dealing with, they were missing things like the direct debit mandate, which is obviously very essential for collections. But what it does as well is apart from automating and making sure you've got all the governance and the control around the process, but it gives you the ability then to monitor real time to actually see how you're performing. How long is it taking? Where are the issues? Where are the bottlenecks? Where are the inefficiencies? So this really just gives you an example of how BPM can help to streamline a process like taking on a new customer.
And I just wanted to add to that, Tony, that with the hot change technology, if these processes need to be changed rapidly, so hot change means that you can implement such changes rapidly, you can train your staff on new process changes quickly, and you can do all of that with superior control.
Yep, absolutely.
So right now we're going to actually take a look at indeed how quickly you can get processes up and running in Sequence Kinetics. We're going to see a short demo of how that's done by a power user, and you'll bear with me for a moment as I just adjust one of our sound settings so you can see this demo. One moment. Tanya is an account manager for Solera, a solar energy provider who just won a major tender from a strategic customer. Tanya needs to quickly create an application which enables the speedy processing of orders from this customer. The request details must be captured in a web form, and these must be sent to Solera's provisioning department, engineering department, and the billing department, each of which must complete a task to provide the customer with the service it purchased. As a power user, Tanya can quickly build this process using Sequence Kinetics without any programming. In the administration environment, Tanya can manage her business process applications. She starts by clicking here to create a new workflow. She gives the workflow a name and a description and clicks Next. Now she is in the App Studio, an environment which gives her easy-to-use tools to build and edit workflows and other application components. Tanya can add activities to her workflow from a toolbox, view and edit workflow and activity properties, and perform useful actions on her workflow using the top ribbon. First, Tanya needs to model her business process. The App Studio enables her to do this quickly before she gets down to the details. Tanya clicks Form to add the initial web form to the workflow. She positions it on the canvas and connects it to the Start activity. Tanya adds 3 task activities to the workflow. These tasks will be given to each Solera department. Finally, she adds a message activity to notify the order initiator that the order has been provided. She connects each of these activities together, and in seconds, she has completed modeling her workflow. Now Tanya needs to define each activity, starting with the user interface. She double-clicks the form. A wizard appears, enabling her to define the form's name and description and creation method. Tanya will use the fast track method to create this form. Tanya now defines the form's data. She adds fields to the form such as the customer's details and service he is ordering, and the date the order is needed by. Tanya then selects the creation mode of the form. She can pick from a variety of templates and form types, including mobile forms and grid forms. She can create form views for multiple platforms in one click, which is made possible with Sequence Kinetics' unique hot change technology. When she's done defining the form's structure, she clicks Finish. Tanya is now in the UX Studio. Sequence Kinetics has automatically created the form view based on Tanya's selection. All of the fields she added are included on a canvas which she can easily edit using the UX Studio controls. Tanya can add additional controls from a toolbox, define control properties, and perform common actions from the top ribbon. For example, she can add a row to the form and add a text box field to receive additional user input. Tanya can also define the service type values by clicking Lookup Tables Data. We'll spend more time in the UX Studio in the Advanced Process Design video. Once Tanya has finished editing her form, she saves it and continues to edit her application. She defines tasks for each department in a similar way. For tasks, she also needs to define how a message is sent to the correct task recipient. Sequence Kinetics Message Wizard enables her to define rich text messages and even include data from the workflow in her message. She can select the members of the organization who will receive the message by role and department, and decide on how tasks will be delivered in a queue. Tanya can even define that a specific task is one-click enabled, meaning that it can be received on a user's mobile phone and approved or declined in one click. To make her workflow more orderly and understandable, she can add swim lanes and comments. After Tanya has finished defining her workflow's activities, she can validate and preview the workflow execution to iron out any issues it may have. Now Tanya's application is complete. Users can run this application in Sequence Kinetics FlowTime environment. Here, users can kick off the application, managers can monitor its execution with visual dashboards, and department members can complete its tasks either via PC or on Process to Go, Sequence Kinetics mobile environment. We'll go more into depth on FlowTime and Process to Go in the Managing Processes video. To sum up, Sequence Kinetics has enabled Tanya to quickly build a business process application. This application will help her department process orders more efficiently and ensure that services are provided quickly and via multiple platforms. Tanya did this with no programming, which also means she can easily change the application over time. Sequence Kinetics, the power to model, build, and execute business process applications with zero programming. Okay, so that was just a really quick demo to show how your power users can create processes very quickly within Sequence Kinetics. And that's for power users. Sequence Kinetics is an unbelievable platform for your developers as well, where it provides excellent, more advanced tools for more advanced processes. And we actually have a set of videos, and the advanced process development video is one of them. You're welcome to take a look at that on our website and Knowledge Center. So Tony, let's go to our next question. How do your business and IT teams collaborate with each other using the BPM platform?
Okay, Ellie. So in the video, it was showing the App Studio, which is really our sort of modeling canvas. This is the equivalent to Visio or your modeling tool. And this canvas is really used to collaborate, both business, IT, and the users, actually. What we do is we do prototyping, so it allows us to draw out and build out concept models, so we can look at what the forms are going to look like, what sort of messages do we need to include, you know, what sort of SLAs or escalations do we need to put in, reminders, alerts, that type of thing. And on this canvas as well, we can actually import from other tools, such as Visio and some of the modeling tools. And it's got things like swim lanes in there as well. So this is really how the business and IT would collaborate with the BPM.
Okay. Now here we're seeing a slide which talks about the specifics of the integration. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, just back on the last slide, Eddie, there was a bit where it's sort of describing how the ERP and the system's connected. I mean, we don't need to go back to it, but what you're seeing here, which is the top one here around the pay invoice, where it's really collecting and updating information. So from a sequence point of view, we have within the platform, if you want to move on a slide, Eddie, we have a range of integration capabilities. So this could be email listeners, it could be file listeners, it could be web services, it could be ODBC, it could be database listeners. And there's a whole range of other things here that you can see that Sequence has. And that's really what we use in terms of doing the integration.
Okay.
And it's very powerful.
Okay, and what about CRM integration? I see we're taking a look at you know, Sequence Kinetics CRM activities here.
Yeah, so what we've done at P&M Soft is really that there are, you know, we've provided a number of out-the-box integration capabilities that are adapters, effectively, widgets that could be quickly reused. And these include CRM, we have for SharePoint, we have for ERP, we also have an SAP connector as well. So this is really what we provide for that business and IT collaboration in order for you to integrate, join up the data, you know, the various systems and applications with the process.
Okay, so we've got obviously those out-of-the-box integration activities which make integration that much faster. So now we've seen the design environment, which is Sequence Kinetics administration. Let's take a look for a moment at how end users are able to very easily leverage all that and operate processes within Sequence Kinetics flow time. That's the end user interface. And bear with me for 10 seconds here as I just adjust our settings so we can see that. Ben is a customer service manager for Solera, a solar energy provider. His team of service reps needs to handle hundreds of customer service requests a day. Each request must be routed to the correct Solera department and completed promptly and in accordance with the customer's SLA. Ben needs to monitor his team's performance, delegate tasks, and identify and resolve bottlenecks. In addition, Ben needs to keep an eye on his team's performance while he's on the road and make real-time adjustments if required. Sequence Kinetics' flow-time environment is ideally suited to meet these needs. Here we are in Sequence Kinetics flow-time. Let's get oriented. Flow-time is made up of SharePoint web parts, which enable efficient process management. The Business Processes web part includes processes a user can kick off. An inbox displays a user's open process tasks. The Processes I Started web part displays the processes a user initiated. The Monitoring and Reports web part shows gauges and charts on process performance. A Delegations web part enables users to delegate processes to other users. Now let's see how it works in action. Betty, one of Ben's service reps, logs into FlowTime at the start of her shift. An easy-to-use dashboard enables Betty to manage her work efficiently. Betty gets a call from a customer, She kicks off a new process and enters the customer's details and the nature of the request. The customer's full contact and contract details are pulled in from Solera's CRM system, which is fully integrated with Sequence Kinetics and is updated as the process moves forward. Betty then decides which Solera department should handle this request and clicks Submit. Betty's task is received by the provisioning department in a load balancing queue. Mark, a provisioning agent, fetches this task and creates the action items required to complete it. Mark can see the task's due date, which is calculated according to the customer's SLA and working days. In this way, FlowTime has assisted Mark and Betty in ensuring that customer requests are completed promptly. Betty and the other reps don't operate in a vacuum. They can use Sequence Kinetics' social features to collaborate with each other and with other department members, asking and answering questions about specific requests and adding comments to their processes. Here, Betty asks Ben, her manager, a question. Her question and Ben's answer are posted to the process wall for all process participants to see. In this way, social features ensure that information is shared and teamwork is maximized. As manager of the team, Ben's FlowTime dashboard enables him to monitor his team's tasks, view which are completed and which are overdue. Ben can assess his team's performance with rich visual dashboards with important KPI, such as number of open service requests and average completion time. Ben drills down and notices that the average completion time for one of his reps is a little higher than usual. He discovers that this rep has been receiving a high number of requests per hour. Ben reassigns some of these requests to other reps in order to resolve this bottleneck. FlowTime's monitoring functionality also includes the ability to generate reports, which Ben can easily export to Excel for Solera's management. FlowTime provides a set of delegation features, which, for example, enable Ben to delegate processes to his deputy while he takes a day off. Sometimes Ben needs to take a closer look at the progress of a specific process. FlowTime's trace functionality enables Ben to see exactly where each process stands on a visual flowchart and where it may be standing still. Ben can also access the audit trail of each process to view a process's history and to troubleshoot any issues. When Ben is on the road, he uses Process to Go, a mobile version of FlowTime which helps him keep an eye on his team from remote. Process to Go shows Ben his team's tasks and provides gauges which display their performance. Photos and maps which guide Ben to customer locations are easy to view. Process to Go ensures that work doesn't stop when Ben steps out the door, and it includes all the FlowTime functionality he needs on the road. Process to Go is available by subscription. FlowTime is hosted in a SharePoint portal, which is ideal for Solera, which uses SharePoint as their company portal. As each of its dashboards is comprised of SharePoint web parts, it's very easy to customize environments for specific users or groups of users. SharePoint's collaboration, social, and document management capabilities make it an ideal fit for a team's process management environment. Since Ben and his team began using FlowTime, team performance and customer satisfaction have greatly improved. To sum up, Sequence Kinetics, FlowTime, and Process to Go have enabled Ben and his team to manage their customer service requests quickly and efficiently, with real-time improvement and mobile control. Sequence Kinetics, the power to operate, collaborate, monitor, and improve business process applications via PC or mobile devices. Okay, so that was an excellent demonstration of how the end-user interface looks and how all of that internal, whether it be CRM or ERP data, is leveraged into a very easy-to-use SharePoint end-user interface. So let's move on to our fourth question for Tony today. Tony, what are the benefits of having an intelligent BPM suite as part of your architecture?
Ellie, we've covered through this webinar some of the some of the benefits around efficiency and joining information up. If you take the next slide, I mean, it's just a summary of some of the things that, some of the value of this. I think it is the mechanism for delivering the desired business outcome, as we talked about, doing all the strategic planning, doing the modelling, but this is about actually delivering the outcome. It's very complementary to enterprise architecture, the designing, the strategic planning, the governance, the standards that you want to adhere to as an organisation. It will give you the ability to control and have agility around the process itself. It allows you to really unify the various data sources and applications and systems that are used as part of delivering that process or service. It is also complementary to a SOA strategy, really providing the organisation with the opportunities and flexibility, really. So, you can take a sort of a plug-and-play approach to things where, you're not actually tied into any particular technology. If you've got an infrastructure and environment that allows you to the process is there, but you can change things. I mean, that's a lot of power. So, that you can use that as part of any sort of application rationalization strategy, maybe looking at technology roadmaps, technologies that you're looking to sunset, technologies that you're looking to adopt, so to speak. I can give an example, really, one other sort of example around BPM. In a very recent deployment, the end user that was dealing with a purchase request could, have 7 different SAP screens that they would need to deal with, and this can be very confusing. And so really, what we provide with BPM and with Sequence is the ability really to put all that information and surface it up through one very simple to navigate SharePoint-based, electronic form. So it really simplifies things for the organisation.
Okay. Now, finally, I guess our last question for you for today's webinar, Tony, is can you give a concrete example of where BPM has successfully transformed an organization's architecture?
Yes, Ellie, I mean, we have many case studies where BPM has made a big difference to an organisation, whether it's a cost focus, whether it's about innovation, being able to transform the business as well. We have also got a Gartner case study that's presented in Barcelona year before last, where actually BPM is gone beyond just streamlining a process, but it's being used to streamline an entire country. The Portuguese government has been in the news. We know there's some aggressive austerity measures going on. And what they've done is they set up a shared service organisation that used to be called GRAP, but it's now called SPAP, to deliver shared services across the government ministries. And what they've done is they have 2 products really. One's based on Jethep, which is really a finance product, so anything like expenses, timesheets, purchase requests, invoices, that type of thing. And they also have another product which is called Europe, which is all around HR processes. So it's about personal data, about recruitment, that type of thing. And really what they've done is they've used BPM to really deliver value, to simplify all the myriads of technologies and processes that are used across the country. And so in this example, we can see that Sequence is being used really to business analysts and developers are designing the processes, so they're using the App Studio to collaborate. There's existing processes in place. They're reviewing those. Are they still valid? We're looking at integration to SAP. So there's a lot of integration, but it's mainly with SAP, which has enabled them to reduce their SAP license footprint. They're looking at things because it's a government shared services platform. There's a lot of rules and legislation, EU legislation, that needs to be in place, make sure that they're adhering to those rules. And also they're using the runtime, the SharePoint side of it, to enable some of the users to be able to access and control their own data and actually be more involved with the process. So, for example, if they want to update their marital status, for example, they can do this through the portal. And all of this is being offered through cloud. If you move on to the next slide, Eddie, it just sort of talks a bit about the sort of architecture here. You can see BPM at the front end. We're working very tightly integrated to SharePoint. And then underneath this, we've got, this is where you've got your SAP and SQL Server as really the main infrastructure components. Now, the benefits of this approach, I mean, are pretty phenomenal. They talk about, the end users, the civil servants that are saying that, life has changed for them. It's absolutely simplified, the things they need to do on a daily basis and their work. It's enabled them to do a substantial consolidation of systems. There was one report that across the different ministries and the different departments, which they refer to as organisms, as entities, there was over 500 different types of applications or different versions of pieces of technology that was being used across the estate. So the overall processing time for whether it's a request type or a claim has been improved. I mean, they talk about substantial gains on this. And I think the key thing for them, which was the initial focus, was being able to take some cost out of the business, but obviously still provide a good service. So, how do you do more for less?
Okay, so thanks very much. Was there anything else, Tony? Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to add, if any of our audience want to see want a copy of this case study, then just make contact.
Absolutely, and it is available actually for download as well from our website at pnmsoft.com. Okay, so now we actually turn to you, the audience, and we invite you to ask questions, and Tony and I will field them right now. We already have several questions from you. If you'd still like to ask a question, just in your GoToWebinar widget, probably on the right side of your screen, there's a questions tab. So you can enter your questions there, and we'll try to field some of your questions right now. So, Tony, the first question we have is from Sei, and Sei is asking, it's clear that Sequence Kinetics is a powerful tool. How user-friendly is the reporting and analytics section? I'm looking at it from a perspective of a non-developer programming, or a non-programming user. Tony, are you able to field that question?
Yeah, I mean, we within the product, I mean, we give you the ability to create sort of dashboards and reports as part of, this is all the metadata regarding the process. I think in terms of ease of use, I mean, it is, again, sort of drag and drop. We also use Microsoft Reporting Services. I'm not sure if we're in a position now to give an example of that, but we're certainly happy to, for this question, is to maybe arrange a separate session and we can go through that in detail. But it is very intuitive, and of course, if you've got skills around SQL, used to using the Microsoft products, then it should be even more easier to use.
Okay. Next question we have is from Greg. Are the standard ERP connectors? I'm sorry, that's not the right question. One moment. Sorry, this is from Greg here. How can standard ERP forms, such as the ERP web order form, be incorporated without redesigning a new form?
Yes. Sorry, Eddie, do you want to relay that?
Yeah, I'll read that again. So Greg is asking, how can standard ERP forms, such as the ERP web order form, be incorporated without redesigning a new form?
Hello, Ellie. This is Paul, pre-sales consultant at PNMsoft. One of the ways that we can manage external systems in that kind of environment is to place a listener, whether it's a database listener or one of our other stock listeners, to hear for that particular form being submitted. Upon submission, we can then control the flow of the process. So we can start a sequence process, move the data and the details through a sequence process. And at any time, we're able to either write back to the incumbent system itself or display the information from the incumbent system through a sequence form. but there's no need for us to make any changes to the existing form.
Okay. Anna is asking, what are the Microsoft products stack that must be licensed in order to have the full range of capabilities that we showed here in the webinar?
Ellie, I do apologize. Can you repeat that question again, sir?
Anna is asking, what are the Microsoft products stack that what are the Microsoft products stack that must be licensed to have the full range of capabilities you showed?
Okay, I mean, Sequence comes already with, you know, it's as a black box with SQL, with the SharePoint standard edition. So the only other sort of mandatory requirements was that you'd have Windows and you'd have SQL Server.
Okay. Another question here we have from, I think we'll take two more questions and that's it. We've got actually a lot more questions coming in. Luca is asking, in the case of SAP, don't we cover functions that should already be in place? Like, he's asking, don't you cover with your BPMS functions that should already be in place?
Yeah, I think we'd need him to elaborate on that. I mean, with our SAP connector, you know, we are taking information from SAP and we're also updating SAP. We use a concept. I mean, this is getting a bit more technical, where we talk through and we link in and we use the BAPIs. I mean, anybody that's used to using SAP would understand that. And again, if they're interested, we've got a whole set of materials that we can share that describes how that interface, how that connectivity works.
Okay, last question here from Rui. Rui is asking, so do we have to make all the web services from scratch? Is there any adapter out of the box to make integration to SAP, SAS, SA400, or others?
We have a number of out-of-the-box web services, but I understand that, you know, to create a new web service, it's really just, it's wizard-based. So, you know, we would direct you through. Unfortunately, you can't bring it up, Ellie, where what you do is you click on it to create a new web service, you type it in, it'll ask for you for your methods, it'll go off and it will search for that. And once it's created once, you can reuse it many times across, you know, lots of different processes. So it's designed to try and make it as easy as use as possible. And as I say, we do have some out-of-the-box web services already in place.
Thank you, Tony. I would add to that also that, as you said, the web service connector is wizard-based, and we actually do have an out-of-the-box SAP connector activity. So that makes it even easier to connect Sequence Kinetics with SAP. Okay, thank you very much for your listening, for your questions. Let's just sum up the webinar here. We talked about the problem of an architecture that doesn't consider business process management. We talked about making intelligent business process management part of your architectural strategy. We showed you how Sequence Kinetics works. We talked about how it has hot change technology, which sets it apart from other intelligent BPM suites. And we saw a couple demos, both of the very easy-to-use design environment and powerful, obviously, for developers, and the end-user environment in SharePoint. We saw those demos, of course, and Tony presented the case study on how Sequence Kinetics streamlines an entire country with the Portuguese government. So I wanted to thank you for listening, Tony, and Paul. I want to thank you, especially Tony, for being our panelist and expert today. And if you have any more questions about about architecture and how intelligent BPM can improve your organization's architecture, then we invite you to contact us here at PNMsoft. You can email us directly to les@pnmsoft.com or to tonyj@pnmsoft.com. You can visit our website, and you can sign up to a free BPM workshop from our website. So once again, thanks for being with us, and stay tuned for, you can see this webinar, if you didn't see all of it, it'll be available on our website, and stay tuned for our webinar next month, which we already have scheduled, which we're actually going to see a very in-depth look at the BPM CRM integration, the out-of-the-box integration, and how that's all put together behind the scenes with Sequence Kinetics. Thanks very much for being with us today.